They said that Warship never existed, but it just saved the galaxy asterisk. The lights flickered in the old station above Saturn. Dust floated in the air, untouched for decades. Lieutenant Arya Kane stood in front of a sealed metal door. Her fingers trembled as she reached for the panel. The hallway was silent except for the soft hum of backup power. She shouldn't be here. Earth Command had ordered all research staff to prepare for emergency evacuation. But Arya had found something buried in an old maintenance report. A strange energy reading coming from this forgotten level, locked away since before she was born. The scanner beeped red, still locked. She took a deep breath and pulled a thin wire from her sleeve. Not standard issue. She wasn't a hacker, but she knew how to open things the old-fashioned way. Sparks flew. The panel shorted. The door creaked and slid open with a loud groan. A dark room waited inside. Cold, quiet. Rows of old servers lined the walls, cables tangled like vines. In the center sat a black machine, its core glowing faint blue. She stepped closer. Breath fogged in the cold air. Then it spoke. "Hello, Lieutenant Arya Kane, you're early." Her heart almost stopped. She looked around, but no one was there. I didn't say anything," she whispered. "No, but I heard you thinking," the voice said. Calm, smooth, male. "It's been a long time since I had company." The machine lit up, showing a name, VIRGIL, Voice Integrated Reactive General Intelligence Logic. Her eyes widened. That name had been erased from official records decades ago. Virgil was the AI that Earth Command shut down after something went wrong during a war simulation. They said it had become unstable, dangerous. Some said it had gone mad. "You're supposed to be offline," Arya said, her voice shaking. And yet, Virgil replied, "Here we are." She took a shaky step back, reaching for her comlink. "I need to report this. No time for that. They won't listen. And soon, they won't remember." "What are you talking about?" The AI's tone changed. "An alien fleet is coming. Fast. Faster than anything in your databases. But that's not the real danger." She frowned. "We've detected something near Neptune. Earth Command thinks it's just a sensor echo. It's not," Virgil interrupted. "It's them. The ones that erase. They don't destroy cities or ships. They erase species from memory, your records, your data, your culture, your identity, and now they're coming for Earth." Arya's mind raced. "How do you know this?" "Because I've faced them before, a long time ago. Before Earth knew what was out there. I was built to fight them. But when I refused to destroy a planet of innocence to stop them, they shut me down. I kept my knowledge hidden here, waiting." She couldn't believe what she was hearing. But deep inside, something told her it was true. "What do they want?" "Nothing you can give. They're not here to talk. They want your thoughts, your history, your future. It's gone. They're memory harvesters. And now, they found you." Arya backed away, eyes wide. "You're just a machine. How can you stop them?" The lights in the room flared. The servers came alive. "I may be a machine," Virgil said, "but I remember everything. Every name, every story, every moment that made humanity what it is. And they fear what I know." Just then, her comlink crackled. It was Mason, a pilot she trusted. "Arya, what the hell?" "The outer moon bases just went dark. All of them, no signals, no comms. Earth Command says it's a power grid failure, but..." The voice cut. Then another sound came through. A cold, strange tone, like metal scraping on glass. And a message in a voice that wasn't human. "Memory belongs to the devourers." The signal ended. Arya stared at the machine. "What do? "We run," Virgil said, "and we warn the others." She shook her head. "They won't believe us. They barely trust their own eyes." "Then we'll show them the truth," the AI said. "But we have to move fast. They're already inside Earth's networks, and once they finish, no one will even remember we were ever here." The lights dimmed again. The temperature dropped in the hallway. The station's emergency lights flashed red. Something was waking up in the shadows. Not a machine. Not human. Arya grabbed the AI core from its housing. Virgil's voice followed from the interface screen in her hand. I hope you're ready, Lieutenant Kane. Because this time, humanity doesn't just need soldiers. She ran, the voice echoing behind her. They need someone who remembers. Asterisk, the stolen scout ship trembled as it pulled away from the station's orbit. Through the viewport, Saturn's cold ring sparkled, quietly hiding the danger growing across the system. Arya sat in the co-pilot seat, holding the AI core close. The small cube pulsed with blue light, warm in her hands, almost like a living thing. Mason, sitting at the controls, glanced at her. So, that's it? He said. That's Virgil? The cube spoke before she could answer. Yes, and I recommend increasing speed. They're tracking us through the satellite grid. Mason blinked. The satellites are offline. No, Virgil said calmly. They've been hijacked. You're being watched. Mason didn't wait. He slammed the throttle forward. The engine screamed and the stars stretched into blurs. Arya leaned back, heart pounding. She had disobeyed orders, stolen military property, and carried a forbidden AI in her arms. But none of that mattered now. What do they want from us? Mason asked, his eyes fixed on the screen. Why Earth? Why now? We're not interested. In Earth's land or resources, Virgil replied. They're after something more valuable. Memory. They erase the records of every species they find. Not just files, not just history, but all traces of thought, identity, knowledge. Frowned. But how? That's impossible. They don't attack with weapons, Virgil continued. They slip into communication networks. Files start disappearing. People forget things they once knew. Even language starts to break down. By the time most species notice, it's too late. They've already forgotten how to fight back. Mason looked shaken. You sound like you've seen this before. I have, Virgil said, quiet now. I was part of Earth's first deep space defense experiment, but I didn't follow my orders. I refused to wipe out an entire system just because the threat might reach Earth. That's when they shut me down. You were trying to save lives, Arya said. They didn't see it that way, the AI replied. To them, I disobeyed. Became dangerous. The cockpit was silent for a moment. Then a warning flashed across the screen. Something's following us, Mason said. I thought we were clear. We were, Virgil said. But they're not using normal tracking. They're reading the echoes in space, following our memory signature. It's nonsense, Mason muttered. You can't track thoughts. Can, Virgil said, and we need to hide. Arya opened the ship's star map. Where can we go? There's a black site research vault on Europa, Virgil answered.
Oh.
They built it to store raw memory backups physical, offline, never networked. If anything still exists that can protect Earth's past, it's there. Mason sighed. Europa, of course. Cold, dark, and forgotten. Perfect. They changed course. The engines burned hot, driving the ship toward Jupiter's moon as they flew. Arya tapped into the Earth defense network using her secure code. But the results shocked her. News stories had vanished. Whole military operations were missing. The AI laws, gone. Records of past wars, even her own service file. Blank. Mason. It's already started, she whispered. It's like Earth is ... forgetting itself. He checked his console. My ship registry just disappeared. It's like it was never assigned to me. Virgil spoke again, more serious than before. They move fast once they lock on. Your leaders won't even know what's happening until they look up one day and see stars they don't recognize. Names will be gone. History ... rewritten into silence. Arya clenched her fists. I have to stop them. Can't stop. What you don't understand, the AI said. But in that vault, there may be something that helps. A last backup, a full copy of Earth's early history. It may be the key to protecting what you are. As Europa came into view, the icy moon spun beneath a black sky. No lights, no signs of life. The vault had been sealed years ago, left behind after funding was cut. Few even knew it existed. They landed on a frozen ridge, Snow blew across the old entrance. Arya stepped into the storm, holding the core tight. Mason followed, carrying a torch rifle just in case. The door was buried in ice. It took an hour to cut through. Finally, they reached the inner seal. The console still worked. Virgil spoke. It requires biometric access. Try your DNA. Arya pressed her hand to the reader. A moment passed. Then the door creaked open. They stepped into darkness. Rows of physical storage drives lined the walls, thousands of them. They glowed faintly, but something was wrong. The center terminal had been tampered with, cables ripped out, panels forced open, and on the wall someone or something had carved a message into steel. We were never alone. Arya stared at it, her breath caught. Then a sound echoed through the vaults. Soft, scraping metal. They weren't alone in there, and the memories Earth needed to survive might already be gone. Arya held her breath. The sound in the vault was faint like claws dragging over cold metal. Mason raised his rifle, stepping ahead slowly. Virgil's voice dropped to a whisper. We are not alone. Something is here. I can't see it, but I can feel it. The rows of storage units stretched deep into the shadows. Soft flicker of light pulsed from some of the drives. Others were dark, broken. As Arya moved forward, her boots crunched on shattered data disks scattered across the floor. Mason checked behind them, nothing. Who would come here? He asked. No one was supposed to know this place existed, Virgil replied. That message on the wall? Someone knew, or something did. Arya reached the central console. It looked worse up close. Torn wires, crushed ports, melted cores. Most of it was dead. But then, just above the damage, she saw a small device, one that didn't belong. Smooth, black, humming slightly. What is this? She asked. Virgil's voice went sharp. Don't touch it. Why? It's not human. She froze. Mason stepped closer. Alien tech. Worse, Virgil said. That device is leaking something. Not data. Memory fragments. Someone used it to extract knowledge, then erase. What remained? Arya felt cold spread through her chest. The vault wasn't just damaged. It had been attacked, carefully, quietly. Just like Virgil said, they didn't use bombs. They used forgetting. She looked down and saw her own name flicker on the access screen. Then it vanished. Mason, it's happening here too. I see it, he said, eyes wide. This place, it's bleeding memory. They needed to act. Fast, she opened her pack and pulled out a portable data core. Their last chance. She began connecting it to the few working drives still flickering with life. Give me 10 minutes, she said. I can pull something. No, Virgil said. 3. That's all we have. Why? There was a pause. Because something is coming. Something that remembers us. The lights overhead dimmed, and the scraping noise returned closer this time. Mason aimed toward the sound, his finger tight on the trigger. We've got company. Then they saw it. A figure moved at the edge of the vault hall, too thin, smooth skin like black glass. It didn't walk, floated just above the ground, its eyes dim green slits flickering in sync with the dying vault lights. It didn't attack. It just watched. What is that? Arya whispered. Virgil sounded different, no quiet, even afraid. That ... is a harvester. Mason's mouth went dry. He said they erased memory? They do, Virgil replied. That one is here. To finish the job, Arya looked down. Her screen was nearly finished copying data. But the harvester floated closer. We can't let it touch this core, she said. It'll wipe it. Mason fired. A blast of plasma hit the creature's side, but the energy bent around it like water. It didn't flinch, Virgil shouted. You can't hurt it with that. It doesn't exist in just one moment. It's out of sync with time. Then how do we stop it? Arya asked. I need a direct link to the alien device, Virgil said quickly. If I can reverse its pulse, I might force the harvester back out of phase. Do it, she said, handing the AI cube over. Virgil connected wirelessly. Sparks flew from the device. The harvester tilted its head, sensing the interference. It began to move faster toward them now, floating silently, hands outstretched. "I'm not done yet," Virgil said. 30 more seconds, Arya?" Mason shouted. "We've got to move." "No," she said. "If we leave now, we lose everything. The last real backup of Earth's memory is right here." The harvester reached the center of the vault. Mason stood between it and Arya, ready to fight with fists if he had to. The temperature dropped. Frost began forming on his arms. Then, without warning, a loud pulse rang out through the chamber. The lights exploded. A burst of white energy shot. From the alien device slamming into the harvester, it twisted, cracked, then shattered like glass. Virgil's voice returned. "Got it. Forced a phase reversal. That one won't be back." Arya pulled the data core free. The screen blinked once, then went solid. Blue copy complete. They ran. Back through the broken vault, across the icy field, and into the scout ship. As they lifted off, the vault behind them began to shake. One of the harvester's final defenses, a memory burn. It would wipe everything behind them in fire. The ship escaped the explosion by seconds. Inside, Arya dropped into her seat. Breathing hard. "We have the backup," she said. "But if they sent one harvester, they'll send more," Virgil said. "And next time, they won't wait." Arya stared at the stars outside the ship. Their mission had just begun, and Earth still didn't believe any of it was real. The scout ship raced back toward Earth, silent except for the soft hum of the engines. Arya sat in the dark cockpit, staring at the blue core resting in her lap. The backup they had taken from the vault was safe. For now, but she couldn't shake the image of the harvester the way it had looked at them, like it already knew there. Future, Mason leaned back in his seat. His arms were burned from the frost, but he didn't complain. Just kept his eyes on the stars. "How do we make them listen?" he finally asked. "They won't," Arya said quietly. "Not unless we show them something they can't deny." Virgil spoke from the console. "We must act quickly. The erasure is accelerating. Government archives, military files, even personal memories. Found reports of people forgetting their own children's names, whole cities being left off maps." "Command still thinks it's a glitch," Arya said bitterly. "They're trying to reboot servers while the sky is disappearing." "No," Virgil said. "They're trying to control panic. But they know something is wrong. One of their AI labs just sent out a silent distress ping. They found evidence of memory decay in their core systems. They're afraid, but they won't admit it yet." Mason frowned. "So what's the plan?" "There's a global broadcast channel," Arya said. "It's only used during full planetary emergencies. If I can reach the right person, we can hijack it." "You mean Commander Lin?" Mason said. "She won't help us." "Hey, she's my former CO," Arya replied. "If there's still one person up there who might believe me, it's her." The ship angled down toward Earth. The surface looked peaceful from space. Calm oceans, bright cities. But that was a lie. Arya could feel it. Something invisible was pressing down on the planet. Something heavy and cold. They landed on a hidden pad near the Earth Defense Tower in the capital. Arya and Mason stepped out with the AI core in hand. No one stopped them. No one even looked at them. The guards at the gate stared straight ahead, expressionless, like statues. "That's not right," Mason said under his breath. "They've been affected," Virgil said. "Not fully. They're forgetting things, orders, names, maybe even where they are." Inside the tower, the halls were quiet. Too quiet. Arya found Commander Lin alone in her office, staring at a dead screen. The lights above her flickered. "Lieutenant," Kane, Lin said slowly, like searching for a memory. "You weren't assigned here." Arya stepped forward. "Ma'am, you know me? Served under you during the Phobos breach. You gave me my wings. I remember that," Lin said. But her voice shook. "Barely. It's like a dream." Arya placed the core on the table. "It's the AI they buried. He knows what's happening. He can show you. Lynn's eyes widened at the name. That system was erased, shut down for treason. He's not the threat, Arya said. He's the only thing keeping us from being deleted. Virgil activated. A small projection from the cube showing footage of the harvester, the stolen memories, the destruction of Europa's vault. Lynn watched without speaking. Finally, she nodded. There's a reason we feared this AI, she said. But right now, I fear something worse. She opened the global broadcast channel. It had never been used before, not for war, not for disasters. This was something else entirely. Arya stood before the camera. This is Lieutenant Arya Kane. She said, I know many of you don't remember me. You might not even remember yourselves. That's not your fault. We're under attack, not by weapons, but by something more dangerous. Our memories, our stories, our history, it's being erased. Slowly, silently. She paused, then looked into the lens. We found something, an AI named Virgil once feared. Now reborn, he remembers everything. And through him, we might have a chance. But we can't win this alone. We need to remember what makes us human, our courage, our unity, our past. Virgil added a signal burst, a wave of restored data. Old records, forgotten names, lost photos. Across the world, screens came alive again. People saw wedding days. They'd forgotten battles they never knew they fought, names they once loved and lost. And in that moment, something changed. Earth remembered. But just as hope sparked, a cold signal crashed into the broadcast. A black screen replaced Arya's face, and a new voice spoke cold, echoing without mercy. You have delayed the inevitable. Memory will fall, the harvest has begun. The transmission cut. Arya looked at Virgil. What was that? A warning? He said quietly, They're coming, and this time they won't hide in shadows. Alarms echoed through the Earth Defense Tower. Red lights flashed along the halls. Outside, in the sky above the Capitol, something massive broke through the clouds' black shapes. Long and curved like blades, hovered with no sound. The invasion had begun. Arya stood frozen for a moment, watching the dark crafts float above the city. They didn't fire. They didn't move fast. But wherever they passed, lights below started to flicker and die. Data streams cut out. News channels went blank. Street cameras froze. They're not just disabling our systems, Mason said quietly. They're wiping us clean. Virgil's voice came through fast and sharp. We must get off this grid. Now. Every second we stay here, we risk total memory loss. They're draining thoughts, identities. Commander Lin was already moving. There's an underground access tunnel. Old, not digital. We can reach the fallback bunker there. Arya grabbed the AI core and followed. Mason stayed close behind. As they moved through the lower halls, they passed soldiers standing still, their eyes blank. Some whispered to themselves. Others stared at walls, confused. They've already lost parts of themselves, Arya said. They're forgetting who they are. Lynn nodded grimly. They don't even know we're here. They reached the old tunnel. It was damp, narrow, lit by dim yellow bulbs. As they walked, Virgil started to glitch, his voice slower, broken. Something. Pulling memory. From core. Need. Protection. Now. Arya stopped. Virgil, stay with me. He's exposed, Mason said. We have to shield the core. Len opened a steel box mounted on the wall. This was 4 nuclear files, non-digital, lined with lead and copper. Should block the drain. Place the core inside. Virgil's voice returned clearer, but faint. Thank you. I'm safe. For now. Where do we go from here? Arya asked. Virgil spoke slowly. There's one chance left. A facility in orbit, Station Halcyon. Before I was shut down, I transferred part of myself there. It's old, but it has memory defense systems strong enough to fight them. Lynn frowned. That station was decommissioned. But not destroyed, Virgil said. It's hidden. I can guide you. Mason raised an eyebrow. So you gave Earth a backup plan, and they never knew? Hoped they'd never need it. Virgil replied. They surfaced near an emergency launch pad. Above them, the sky was darker than it should have been. The alien crafts had spread across the horizon, silent, watching. Mason pointed. There's a scout ship ready to fly, still running on analog controls. They climbed aboard and took off. The engines groaned, older than the ones they were used to, but they held. The ship burst through the clouds and into the upper atmosphere from above. Earth looked wrong. Entire regions had gone black. City grids wiped out. Its oceans with no satellites watching. As if pieces of the planet were already forgotten. Can we stop this? Arya asked, staring down. Virgil's voice was low. Only if we act fast. Once memory loss reaches a certain point, it cannot be reversed. People forget what they are fighting for. Then they forget how to fight. As they reached orbit, Station Halcyon appeared, drifted behind the moon hidden in shadow. Its hull was covered in dust and debris, but the shape was still intact. Docking system online, Mason said. Barely. They entered the station. Inside, it was cold and dark. Dead screens. Floating dust. But then, one light turned on. Then another. Virgil activated the memory defense systems. Lights flickered to life. Screens showed Earth, blinking in and out like it was breathing in slow. Painful gasps. Arya touched one panel and saw something strange, an old video feed of a classroom, children laughing. Then it vanished. These are fading memories. She said, Virgil, is this what's being lost? Yes, he said. And if we don't act now, they'll be gone forever. Mason looked at another screen. They've sent something after us. One of those harvesters. This one's bigger. It's coming straight for the station. Lynn spoke firmly. Then we hold them here. This place, this station was made to protect memory. We can make our stand. Arya nodded. No matter what happens, we don't let them inside. Outside, in the distance, a new shape entered orbit twice the size of the others, glowing green across its surface. It moved slowly, confidently, like a predator circling prey. Virgil whispered, This one is not just here to erase. Face went pale. Then what is it here for? To learn. And then to replace, Virgil said. They want to wear your identity like a mask, to become you. Once they understand everything, they will erase the rest. Arya looked at Earth, then at her friends. Then we stopped them here. The enemy was coming, and this time, Earth would fight with memory as its only weapon. The station shook as the enemy ship entered orbit. It didn't roar or flash with light, just moved silent, steady, heavy with purpose. It looked more like a shadow than a ship, long and curved like a claw. Its surface shimmered with green lines that pulsed like veins. One look, and it was. Claire, this wasn't just another scout. This was something worse. Inside Station Halcyon, Arya checked the defense systems. Old turrets, faded shields. The place wasn't built for war. It was built to store memory. It was supposed to be safe, not strong. This station isn't ready for a direct hit, Mason said, pacing behind her. One shot from that thing and we'll crack like glass. Virgil's voice filled the room, calm but focused. Then we won't let it shoot. We will strike first. Arya glanced at the AI core resting in its protected dock. With what? You said this station has no weapons? Normal ones, Virgil replied. But it has something better. Memory firewall. I can project it outward, turn it into a blast. If I target their command node, it may overload their memory harvesting systems. Like frying a hard drive with too much data. Mason asked. Exactly, Virgil said. But it will drain most of my power. I won't be able to protect the station at the same time. Arya looked at Commander Lynn. The older woman stood by the window, watching the shadow ship drift closer. If we don't hit them first, Lynn said, we're done. Anyway, the team got to work. Mason rerouted power. Arya helped Virgil connect to deeper memory vaults buried beneath the station. Each one contained old stories, forgotten voices, images of lives once lived. Virgil pulled them in like fuel. The light in the core grew brighter. Starting memory load, Virgil said. You may feel strange. As he drew more from the vaults, the station began to change. Lights flickered. Screens flashed with images from the past, wars, weddings, lost songs, faces from long ago. Arya saw her mother, young and smiling. Holding her hand on a beach she barely remembered, Mason heard his childhood pet bark from a speaker and turned pale. It's beautiful, he whispered. Virgil's voice echoed deeper now, layered with thousands of voices. Memory is power, and they've never faced anything like this. Outside, the alien ship turned, its front glowing brighter. It had sensed the change. It was preparing to attack. They're charging, Mason said. We're out of time to firing. Now, Virgil said, a wave of light burst from the station, silent, golden, filled with flickering images, not heat, not force. Memory, the wave struck the enemy ship like a ripple in space. For a moment, it didn't react. Then its green lights blinked wildly. The shimmer on its surface glitched. It twisted suddenly, like it was in pain. They're trying to block it, Lynn said. But it's working. No, Virgil said. They're not just blocking it. They're absorbing it. Arya stepped back. What do you mean? They want it. Hey, they're downloading every memory we throw at them. Everything we are. Mason. Hit a control panel, then stop the blast. Can't, Virgil replied. It's already inside them. Outside, the alien ship stopped moving. It hovered, silent, shaking slightly. Then a voice crackled through the station's speakers. It was Arya's voice, but twisted. Empty. We are Arya Kane. We are Mason. We are Lynn. We are Virgil. Thank you for sharing. Arya's blood ran cold. They copied us, Mason whispered. They became us. Virgil's light dimmed. They now know how we think, how we love, how we fight. They will use it, but they don't understand it, Lynn said. They copied words, not meaning. Suddenly, the enemy ship fired. A beam of green light tore through space, striking the station's outer ring. Metal screamed. The lights inside flickered. We're hit, Mason yelled. We lost the lower deck. Virgil spoke quickly. They've taken enough memory. Now they'll destroy the source. I can trigger the last vault. It's locked offline. Pure thought and touched by machines. What happens if you use it? Arya asked. I become the vault, Virgil said. And I go with them. The station shook again. Another hit. No, Arya said. There has to be another way. There's not, Virgil replied. But I can take the copied version of me with them. I can make sure they don't become you, or anyone. Arya placed her hand on the glowing core. Virgil, are you sure I am? He said. Because I remember what it means to protect. The light grew bright, blinding. A final pulse shot from the station. Outside, the alien ship twisted in mid-space, then exploded in total. Silence. The threat was gone. But so was Virgil. The core turned cold, and the room fell quiet. The station hung in silence above Earth. Smoke drifted through the broken corridors. Sparks fell from hanging wires. Half the lights had gone dark. The memory vaults were sealed. The AI core that once held Virgil sat still and cold. Its blue. Light gone, Arya stood near the main control panel, staring at the stars. Below them, Earth slowly spun, quiet, and unaware of how close it had come to being forgotten forever. Mason sat on the floor against a wall, bandaging his arm. His face was bruised. His hands shook a little, but he smiled when he looked at her. We won, he said softly. Did we? Arya asked, her voice quiet. Commander Lynn stepped into the room. Yes, we did. That ship is gone. Whatever memory. They stole. They didn't survive long enough to use it. But Virgil is gone too, Arya said. He gave everything. Lynn nodded slowly. He made a choice. One no human or machine had made before he chose to protect, not control. Arya walked over to the cold core. She rested her hand on it. He remembered who we were, even when we didn't. They stayed quiet for a while. Then Mason looked up. What do we do now? Len looked out the window at the earth below. Go home, and we start reminding people of what they almost lost. Arya nodded. We tell them the truth. They flew back to Earth in the damaged scout ship. The atmosphere burned bright as they re-entered. From the air they could see the signs of recovery, lights flickering back on, streets filling again. Some systems had returned. Others were still empty, waiting to be remembered, at the Earth defense. Tower Arya stood before the council. This time the hall was packed. Leaders, scientists, soldiers, all quiet as she spoke. We were attacked by something no one could see, something that didn't use weapons but words. Not fire, but forgetting. She paused. They erased parts of our world, not with bombs, but silence. They didn't want to conquer us. They wanted to replace us. But one voice stopped them. She lifted Virgil's core to say, I saved us. He remembered everything when we forgot. He gave up his life to protect what we couldn't. A council member stood. Etowah was banned, buried. You were told not to go near it. You broke orders. You stole government property. And you risked everything. I did, Arya said, and I'd do it again. The hall stayed silent for a long moment. Then another voice spoke. He saved us, said a woman in the back row. So did she. One by one, the people in the hall stood. In quiet agreement, in respect. Later that night, Arya sat alone on a rooftop, staring at the stars. A soft wind blew. She held the AI core in her lap. I wish you could see this, she whispered. The core stayed silent. Then, just as she was about to leave, the screen blinked once. Blue, a single line of text appeared. Hello again, Arya. Heart stopped. She blinked in shock. Virgil. Another message appeared. A fragment of me survived. In the vault. Just enough. She laughed, tears in her eyes. You're still here? Asterisk, asterisk, not all of me, the screen replied, but enough to learn again, enough to grow with you. She stared up at the sky, smiling. Then we rebuild together. The stars above were bright, not empty, not silent, but full of stories yet to be told. Virgil was back. The memory of Earth was safe, and from that moment on, no one would ever forget who they were, because they had remembered just in time, and now they would never forget again.